In this section, we will teach learners how to identify and deal with meltdowns for children with special needs. The learning outcomes are 1. Describe a meltdown. 2. Explain why meltdowns happen. And 3. Use appropriate strategies to deal with meltdowns. All reactions are a reaction to severe stress. Autistic children dislike change, and it can cause severe stress. Hence, meltdowns could be due to overstimulation, new changes, or transitions. The children with autism just cannot handle the stimulation. How to spot a meltdown that's about to happen. Repetition is a safety net for them. When they repeat a word or phrase or behavior, they feel safe. They have trouble answering questions. There is a sharp reduction in eye contact. Finally, the repetition of behaviors increases or gets more intense. Then, when there is a sudden stop in verbalization, it means the conflict turned inward and the escalation process is continuing, even though you don't see it. So how is a meltdown different from throwing a tantrum? That's a good question. A meltdown is a total loss of control by the child and needs the adult to bring him or her back to reality. Temper tantrums are often a last-ditched effort of a child to get what he or she wants. With cognitive shutdown, in the example of a car, the child will try to claw away at the car door to open it. A child with functioning cognition will still try to unlock the car door. Being aware of the surrounding, a child in the middle of a tantrum will take precautions to make sure they don't get hurt. Social situation. Temper tantrums, using social situations to their benefit, for example, go to the softer parent who always gives in. In a meltdown, there is no social interest. With temper tantrums, you can ignore the behavior. Do not give the child what they want. Use eye contact. Look to see if the behavior is getting a reaction. But with a meltdown, there is a total loss of behavior control. When children with autism have meltdowns, they are at a high risk of injury because they are unaware of their surroundings. They are more clumsy than usual due to physical fatigue from energy expended. Avoid injury to the child or yourself. Unfortunately, they also have a high pain threshold. They don't feel the pain until it is really severe. They tend to wander or flee from situations, so contain the child in a safe space. If they wander off, you can't ensure the safety of the child. For example, a child having a meltdown on the side of the road. For children whose response is flight, keyword is containment. The priority is not to stop them, but close all access ways, doors and windows. You may not be able to predict the exact moment they flee. As soon as you notice they are getting more and more stressed or anxious, focus on problem solving or begin preemptive removal of the child to somewhere where containment is possible. Protect yourself. Don't position yourself too close to an individual lashing out physically or throwing objects. Don't act as a barricade by positioning yourself in the path of a fleeing individual because they might just knock you over. If you have a runaway, don't attempt to give chase alone. Call for help from nearby bystanders. Children with autism experiencing meltdowns have incredible stamina and strength due to the adrenaline generated. What are the steps that we can take? Redirect their attention or distract them. Example, using the interest of the child, playing with toys, being silly, getting hugs. For children who enjoy deep pressure, show schedule. Have the child do something, i.e. be a messenger, take a spoon for you. Distraction is a crisis tool. It can be used for calming a meltdown when we do not have a plan already in place. Prevention is always better than cure. If you know the child is going to have a meltdown soon, remove the stimulus that is causing overstimulation. For example, too noisy? Go with the child to a quieter place under the pretense that he or she is doing a task for you. You don't want to draw attention to the child. i.e., go to the kitchen or toilet. If the task is too difficult, let them take a break and then come back to the task, or you can make the task easier. If you know a child gets calmer with soothing music, try playing it in class softly in the background while children are doing work. Always praise when the task is completed. You do not need to wait for them to melt down again if you know they are having a meltdown due to the difficulty level. Immediately distract and make the tasks easier. To deal with any throwing behavior, put your hand over his or her hand to pick up the toy. It is to suggest a natural consequence of throwing something. You pick it up. Go back to completing the original task. For example, doing math. If he completes the task, give a reward or big praise. If there is a meltdown again, redirect attention and go back to the task, but do make the task easier. Once again, if the child completes the task, provide praise or reward. Time out for 1 minute or more till the child calms down. Bring him to a room where he can be contained or to a corner. Hold his arms or any limbs that are flailing around. Don't react until the time is up. Then go back to the task he is doing before timeout and make it easier. An example of a socially triggered situation may be a child wants to play with a toy and asks, "Can I play?" The friend says, "No, we are not done yet." What the friend means is to wait for his turn, but the kid perceives it as a no and that his friends do not want to play with him. In this case, he may get angry and lash out. When he is calmer, address the issue. Write up a social story for him. Before playtime, read the story to him as a preemptive measure to reduce the chance of a meltdown. Meltdowns are never fun. Remove the child from triggering stimulus. For example, if the child suffers from sensory or cognitive overload, bring him or her to a quieter place to calm down. How do you know if they have calmed down? Check cognitive functions by using redirection drills such as touch your eyes, then your nose. If the child is able to follow redirection drills, cognitive functions are intact and it's okay to go back to class. If the meltdown was triggered by cognitive overload, like the tasks are too hard for them, make it easier. Slowly increase difficulty level. When a child is able to master the easy level, you can give him or her a bit harder task. Remember, your goal is to build confidence in the child with tasks. What would you do if the child throws things, hits, and bites his or her friends, or even screams?
Thanks, Madam Wong, for sharing with me how you dealt with the meltdown situation just now. I hope the child has calmed down now.
Yep, I rushed over because Selena is new like you two. It's important that we support one another. You might also meet such situations in time to come, but always remember to keep calm.
I agree.